but we're doing the planting cab cam, and we're in the cab with Jesse Prignit. And Jesse, how's planting going so far?
Oh, pretty good. It's a little wet start, but everything's starting to kind of dry up and keep it going here.
Yeah, you've been running the last couple of days. Been pretty nice.
Yeah, the last 3 days have been real good going.
So tell us a little bit about what, because obviously you just see tractors running up and down the field. You got this big thing behind it, it's a planter, but there's different types of planters, everything else. So what do you got? You got those, those big yellow things on the back end. What are those for?
It's a central fill. That's basically just the seed tanks. You can put bulk seed in there or bags, whatever, but it distributes it out to the rows. It's kind of nice. You can deal with the bulk that way, and you don't have to have so much weight on each row unit. But it does make the center of the planter a little heavier. But it's proven to be pretty nice.
Now farming's a little bit different, or planting's a little bit different. I remember 4-row planting. Dad was be the only one that would ever plant because he could only plant it the straightest. But really, I mean, you're doing hands free.
Yeah, pretty spoiled nowadays.
Yeah. So how does that work for people that aren't familiar with it?
It's off of several satellites. It's a GPS, and you strike your line at an A-B line or an A plus a heading. I use headings. I go 0 or 90, and depending on which way the field is, and strike your line, and it just populates the computer, the monitor here with all the tram lines that you're going to go, and when you turn, you just hit your resume button, and it beeps if it locks on, and away you go.
And we were just talking about how well the satellite, the no steer, that was, it didn't lock on.
Yeah, we driving in circles on the end rows, weren't we?
Yeah. I'm going, wow, it seems like every time we're in the cab, something goes a little bit haywire a little bit, but otherwise you just hit the resume button and boom, everything locked back up again.
2 days ago, my auto steer wasn't working because of some little wire harness. A wire had worn through and broke on a piece of a wire harness on the tractor. And I had to plant with markers that day, and that was terrible.
Yeah. How did they ever do it?
How did they ever do it? Yeah. Well, we managed. We got by pretty good.
Yeah. Well, you notice if you can see it in the camera, the markers, usually one side's down, the old-fashioned way. The one side's down, the one side's just up like that one is. But neither one of them go out now these days, as long as everything's working.
Shut them off. Shut them off after you get the field outlined, and once you got your line struck. And it's like if I was going to fold up and go to the yard, I'd probably put a marker down the last pass across just to make sure when I come back that I'm still on the right line. Sometimes there's a little drift. It doesn't seem to be as bad as it used to be, but
talking like a satellite drift.
Yeah, that's what they always called it. You leave the field and come back 3 hours later, and you'd be 4 foot off of the line. But it's so much better now than it was when we first started using it.
And just that little bit, surprisingly, I mean, it could cost a farmer a lot of money on that, being off a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose. If you catch it, you go and you fill it in.
Right. Yeah.
Keep your mouth shut about it,
Yeah.
I meant to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So some of the things on the planter, talking about these, your yellow things you see in the back there, but also the hoses. Where do the hoses go to each one of those?
There's a seed line goes to every row, and it keeps a pretty good size handful of seed in the row unit, and it keeps the row unit so you don't have so much weight on it. It keeps it kind of pretty uniform weight, and it distributes it out. Then the other lines are the vacuum lines. That's what the planter unit uses to basically through a disc with holes in it. It'll suck the seed to it and then go around and gets to a certain spot, it drops it, and then it goes down the seed tube into the trench.
No seed tubes, you got to make sure because they wear out.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah. Some of the other things on the planter, you got the discs in the front, you got the wheels, all that. There's a lot of mechanisms that go on. It's not just driving along and just planting whatever. It's a calculated equation, really, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Do a little digging the first day out until you're comfortable with everything, and the trash whippers in the front kind of clear any clods out of the way so the row can ride smoother and keep your planting depth uniform. How the new modern row units, the planting units are getting very, very accurate nowadays.
How deep do you plant the corn?
Not deep. A little over 2 inches.
2 knuckles deep, huh?
Yeah, that's what Dad always said. You know, your second knuckle. You know. But about a little over 2 inches, 2 1/4, not quite 2 1/2, I suppose.
Yeah. So if you're out in the field come July, you wonder how the crops are doing. It used to be knee high, then it was waist high by 4th of July. Now it's like 6 feet tall, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you determine how your crop's growing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's old.
There's our first cab came in 2017 in the planter, or in the cab of planting corn here in North Iowa.